What's going on, everybody? This is Vince with vshred.com, and today I'm here with Jay Campbell, and we're going to be talking all about testosterone. All right, so first off, thanks for being here with us today, Jay. I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit. So for those of you who don't know, Jay is a 3 times Amazon best-selling author. He's a founder of TOTRevolution.com and the TOT Revolution podcast. Jay and his wife, Monica, correct?
Yes.
FabFitOver40.com, and he is the co-owner of Optimized Life Nutrition. He's a strength and fitness coach and just a cool dude in general. So Jay, before we get any further, I'm first just curious as to what led you to wanting to be in the health and fitness industry. If you could tell us a little bit about your story and what got you here, I'm sure all of us would love to hear it.
Sure. Well, first off, Vince, thanks for having me on your guys' show today. I love to do interviews for people. You guys' sites kick ass. I've definitely been looking at it a lot. You guys are doing a lot of great things for the community. As I'm a huge believer in, optimization / fitness and health is really the key component today into saving people's lives, right? Because we're being overwhelmed in society by all of these, harmful contaminants and particulates and endocrine disruptors and all these things, which you and I can talk about as we talk more about optimization. But I kind of got into this field. I was a college basketball player, also high school baseball, basketball, and soccer player. So I've always been an athlete in my life. I'm the oldest of 9 children. But I was really, really good at basketball. I played Division II in college at Georgia Southwestern University, which is in Americus. And then after I had a small cup of coffee, I played semi-pro professionally at Division II in Austria for about 6 months. And then I came back into the real world. In the real world, I moved from the East Coast to Southern California at 24. And at 24, I started playing basketball competitively again. And I was also doing some stuff in the film and television industry. And obviously doing that kind of stuff, I maintained my physical conditioning. At about 29 or 30, it was actually right under before I turned 30, I got kicked in the testicles playing basketball in a very competitive basketball league. And about 2.5 months later, I started having issues or symptoms of low testosterone. I was very fortunate because this was in 1999. I'm 47 years old, by the way. I went to just a general garden variety doctor, and he said, you know what, I want you to do some blood work. I want to refer you to an endocrinologist. And luckily at that time, because back in 1999, 2000, there was very little known about testosterone optimization therapy. And the doctor that I was referred to was a Harvard-educated physician named Dr. Raymond Scruggs. He actually ordered a testosterone test for me, and I had low testosterone. I actually had the symptoms of a geriatric, like an 85-year-old man. I think my score was like somewhere below 260 or 270. I don't remember offhand.
What's the normal score?
Yeah. Well, this is like super low, like below 300 is like subclinical, which means, someone should go on testosterone optimization therapy. So at that time, he said, I want to put you on testosterone. My wife and I were kind of reluctant, but I was a smart person, and I knew he was really intelligent, board certified, highly educated. So I went with it, and he put me on testosterone, very low dose, clinical therapeutic dose, and I felt amazing like within 3 weeks. Subsequently, I've been on testosterone ever since then. I've worked with about 5 different physicians on and off since then. He was in South Orange County, and I live in West Covina, which is a good 45 minutes away. So I ended up finding a closer physician, and I'm still working with that physician today. But because I became such a good student, and I'm a very knowledgeable guy, and I'm obviously very studious, over time, people that I met in my career and profession, which was sales, I was kind of a high-level salesperson in the automotive industry. I worked for KBB, Kelly Blue Book, KBB.com. People encouraged me to write a book about this because whenever I would talk to guys, successful executives and high-level guys and stuff like that, they would always get into conversations about that. And they'd always be like, well, how are you such in great shape? And how do you maintain your health and all this? And so I would tell them, well, I'm on therapeutic testosterone and I have been for a long time. So when they would ask me those questions, I would kind of get into conversations with them about this is why you do it. This is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. And then some of them started to encourage me to write more about it and write a book. Now, this is like 2011, 2012. So at the time, I was like, you know what, why not? I know a lot about this stuff. I've been doing a lot of research. I reached out to Rick Collins, who's like the highest level attorney in the whole world in the performance enhancement arena. He's the guy for Major League Baseball. He's the guy for worldwide wrestling or whatever they call themselves nowadays. And I asked him, I said, would a lay person, a non-medical practitioner like myself who wrote a book on optimized testosterone or therapeutic testosterone, risk anything criminally because I'm not a certified medical professional? And he told me that there would be risk. So I shut the book down. I didn't write it. I didn't pursue it. I had actually written like a white paper with it, and I'd sent it to him. He actually said it was great, but I'd also sent it to Nelson Virgil, who a lot of people, probably your listeners, know. He's kind of like the most famous guy on the planet who's been surviving HIV for 35 years. And he did it through the usage of therapeutic testosterone and other pharmaceuticals. And so I sent it to him too. He had read it, but he was actually out of the country, in his native country in Venezuela at the time, and didn't respond right away. And about 2 months later, after I decided to not go forward with the book, he reached out to me in the middle of the night, sent me an email and said, Jay, I don't know who you are, but this book that you've written or in the makings of is phenomenal. And so we connected, and I talked to him on the phone, and I told him, I said, well, what about, Rick Collins telling me that there was risk? And he said, dude, that guy's just an attorney. He's trying to, make you be fearful, as all attorneys do. Trust me, I'm on boards and panels at the DEA and the FDA. There's no risk to you. This information needs to come out. So that was 2014. Fast forward today, I wrote the first book, the TRT Manual, which was in the end of 2015. He helped me. I added to it. I made it a lot better. And it became the #1 selling book of all time on testosterone replacement therapy. Fast forward to today.
No big deal.
Yeah. Fast forward to today, and I've now written, which launched actually on February 1st, the Testosterone Optimization Therapy Bible. And it is truly a Bible. It's 589 pages. We massively improved on the first book. We added tons of material. I mean, we call it the Bible. It was kind of a tough decision at first because we're like, hey, I don't want to get into God's territory here and call a book the Bible. But I had so many people, very high level in the medical community. Obviously, I have a science team in the book of the top 5 or 6 of the top physicians in the world in this space who advised me on the science and everything. We just said, hey, look, this is the Bible. There's so much information in here from a clinical standpoint, from a patient standpoint. And as you know, Vince, because you've seen it, it goes beyond just testosterone. We talk about fitness. We talk about optimization, of health parameters and biomarkers and all these other things. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's 589 pages, has 750 research citations. It's just a beast. And so, nowadays I'm very blessed and very fortunate. My co-author, Jim Brown, and I are really looked at as kind of, 2 or 3 of the world's, foremost leading experts on this subject matter. That's a non-physician. Clearly there's doctors out there that are way higher than us, but not really in bringing this education or bringing this awareness to the public. So I'm very blessed that I get a chance to talk to top doctors in the world. Like this morning, you already know, I've had 2 podcasts with 2 of the biggest doctors in the world. In fact, I had a podcast at 10 a.m. this morning with a guy who does the international journal for peptide sciences, literally for the whole world. So, it's a blessing, man. I'm very, very blessed to where I'm at. You did mention that I have a blog with my wife, a fitness blog that we started in 2014. And that was just for me and my wife, Monica, to coach, educate, people that are over the age of 40 on, maintaining great conditioning as they age, right? Because age is, as we say, age is an attitude, age is a number, right? There's no reason someone can't, look amazing and feel amazing into their 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. But for anybody who, for our viewers who don't necessarily understand all of the benefits of testosterone, because you basically based your entire career around trying to get word out about this testosterone replacement and just the therapy about it, and trying to get people to understand how important it is. What are some of the benefits that people will receive from just basically taking part in this, or just having a natural testosterone level?
Yeah, so it's a good question. The most important thing that your listeners, everyone watching this video today, and this is for both men and women, is by the time you're 25, and unfortunately, I have to kind of caveat that statement now because it's starting a lot earlier. Right now in society, we have an epidemic. It's a modern day epigenetic, what I call epidemic, of men and women who are dealing with issues that are coming on from the environment that are causing women to start menstruating earlier and men to be delayed in reaching puberty later. And then it's also manifesting in ways like where men have high estrogen, low testosterone. Like even men, you know, the doctor I just did a podcast with says he has patients coming to his office today. They're 18, 19-year-old men, otherwise healthy, who have, you know, subclinical testosterone levels. So every man or woman should at some point, you know, and I say usually 25, I probably have to change that now, get their blood work done. Now you can either do that through your physician, you know, your general practitioner in your family, or you can do this by yourself. You can go online. There are numerous private medical companies today, CountedLabs.com, PrivateMDLabs.com. Those are just two, but there's many. You have to get a blood testosterone test. You have to get an estrogen test. For women, it's progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen as well, to see where you function. Because Vince, if you have subclinical or low testosterone, that's what most people think of it as, low T, your life sucks, okay? You have no energy. You have high, you know, the symptoms of what is called estrogen dominance, which is you're moody, you're indecisive, you have no like drive or passion, you have zero energy to train or exercise. I mean, yeah, having low testosterone is a terrible affliction.
Yeah, well, I can definitely see that. One thing that actually my dad, he always kind of worked out, but he never really took care of his diet or anything like that. And he's recently gotten back on it, and he's lost, I think, like 40, 50 pounds, and he's just a completely new human now. It's awesome.
That's good, man.
So I
That's awesome.
totally understand everything you're saying. So what would you say are the root causes of someone having low testosterone?
I mean, I wish I had the answer to that. It's a multifactorial question, but my answer today, and I have a really good friend who's writing a book called Optimized Under 35, Daniel Kelly. I've been personally mentoring him for almost 5 years now. He's in the UK, brilliant guy. He started testosterone optimization therapy at 28 because he had all the symptoms. He's in Europe, and there were a lot. Unfortunately, Europe compared to the United States and everywhere internationally compared to the United States is really behind in diagnosing this issue. But because he met me online and I helped him out and I guided him to some physicians in the UK that actually were able to diagnose him and start him on testosterone, his entire life has changed. But we believe, and I'm kind of helping him like look at this right now, it's kind of like the ideology of what causes low testosterone. We believe that it's three parts. It's number one is it's environmental, from the endocrine disrupting chemicals, right? They're everywhere. They're in our plastic water bottles. They're in the dashboards of our cars. You know, they're in the, you know, mattress surrounders of the mattresses we sleep on. I mean, the bottom line with endocrine disruption is it's everywhere, Vince. If you live in a large, you know, coastal population area or anywhere that's heavily populated, there's really no way to avoid them. Even like, you know, high luminosity lights, like the phosphorescent lights. Obviously these things, the blue light from screens, all these things are the environmental component. The second component is men and women today are not exercising as much as guys like from my generation did because we didn't have access to screens. So many men, as you know, play video games and sit there and veg out. And then the third component is the food, the GMO food, the boxed foodstuffs, like all of this crap processed shit that people eat. So all three of those components are leading to what we would call subclinical testosterone levels or suboptimal hormone levels. And it's, you know, a very, very, you know, nasty situation. And it's one that definitely most likely for most people is going to require working with a physician. However, we can discuss, you know, things guys can do to optimize their levels, but it's becoming more and more difficult to do everything like through natural means unless you have the genetics to do it. Right.
Yeah, that was actually going to be what I was going to ask you right after that is what would someone with, and also I don't want to spoil the optimization therapy Bible or anything like that. And I highly recommend anybody who is interested in this. And I mean, this is really going to be for everybody to go check out his testosterone optimization therapy Bible, just because everybody, even if you're not suffering from it, to learn about it, because at one point in time you probably will be suffering from it if you're not already and just don't know it. So without, I guess, spoiling that, and I'll put the link down in the description below this video, but what are, let's say, just a few simple ways that you would recommend to somebody who could help to optimize their natural test levels without getting into real deep therapy or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, let me just say to you, and I appreciate what you just said, because it's a very deep book. If you are watching this podcast and you want a copy of the book, I have no problem sending you a PDF copy. Just email me. It's jay@trtrevolution.com.
Put it down there.
Yep. Happy for you guys to send that to me. So I'll send that to you so you can read it. It's a very, very deep book, but it's very easy. It's written for anyone to understand. We literally wrote it so that a 7th grade person, a 7th grade reading level will be able to understand it. There's obviously a lot of science. There's a lot of endocrinology, molecular biology, and that stuff like that. But we actually, highlight that and say, doctor alert for anything that's like really esoteric that you don't really need to pay attention to. So anyway, the book it's a very well-written book, but it's very easy to understand. But to answer your question, the first thing you can honestly do is you can stop eating boxed foods, okay? You can stop, choosing to eat processed foods. You can eat organic or natural foods. I think the best way to say is if God didn't make it, don't eat it, right? If you are, depending on your body type, there's 3 different body types. We don't have to discuss that here. But if you're naturally slow metabolism, fat, chunky, heavy set type of person, you need to moderate your carb intake. You shouldn't be eating carbohydrates like after 6 p.m. at night, right? And I don't want to make this a huge nutrition discussion, but moderating your insulin or suppressing your insulin through carbohydrate manipulation would be the next thing. And then the other thing is again, I think it's more just awareness. Get a blood test. You can literally get a testosterone estradiol test at discountedlabs.com for $39.99. Okay. So if you're a 20-year-old kid and you're like, look, man, I can't go to the doctor. I don't have a personal physician. How am I going to know? I really want to know. I read Jay's book. I really want to know. Just go to discountedlabs.com, go into the search bar at the top and say testosterone plus estrogen. And you'll see the test. It's right there. It's like $39. And literally you just pay online like it's PayPal. They send you a lab requisite and you don't have to tell anybody. You can literally go to a LabCorp or a Quest, any blood bank right around your house, hand them the requisite. They already know. And then boom, they take your blood, and within 5 to 7 business days, you'll get an email back and say, hey, we have your blood results. If you don't know how to read them, it's actually pretty simple, but you can go on Google or YouTube or Google and just say, how do I read my blood test? And there's a million YouTube videos. I mean, I've done plenty of them to understand that, but you need to understand like what a level is of testosterone that shows that you're low. And now they're changing it constantly, which is a whole nother story for another day, but I think it's 246. But if you're a guy, okay, and you're in your 20s and your test is somewhere below 400, you probably have a problem.
Yeah. And if you don't know, you will later.
Exactly. Oh, for sure later, for sure. But yeah, if you're below 400 and you have symptoms, and just by the way, symptoms are you're tired. Okay. The number one symptom, by the way, of low testosterone, and most people don't understand this, is brain fog. And that constitutes 2:00 in the afternoon. You had lunch at 12, you're back at work, and you literally want to go home and take a nap. You feel like absolute dog. And that is usually an issue that you have subclinical levels of testosterone, because that's the number one symptom, brain fog or lethargy. The next symptoms are the kind of ones that most people stereotypically know. You might have sexual dysfunction. You might have erectile dysfunction.
That's what I was going to say. Most people probably hear low T and they're like, oh,
right. Lack of energy, can't train in the gym. But sadly, Vince, a lot of younger men are experiencing this now today, and that's the biggest issue for doctors is like, well, how do I treat a young man who may have these symptoms while also allowing them to retain their fertility, right? Because most young men want to have kids. That's the goal. The good news is there are a lot of physicians, I work with pretty much all of them around the world today, that know how to optimize a person's testosterone levels while also maintaining their fertility and keeping everything good. So if you do choose the route, let's say you find out you're subclinical, make sure you work with a physician that knows what they're doing. This is not something where you can go to a garden variety general practitioner and expect them to know what they're doing, because they don't.
That's not their specialty.
Totally.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, that's really cool. I'm going to wrap this up. If anybody is looking to go check out that Optimization Therapy Bible, if you're interested in this, I highly recommend everybody to go into checking it out. And just, if you don't want to read every single page, at least skim through it. And like Jay said, make sure that you are getting educated on it. That way you can just raising awareness to yourself is going to be a huge step in the right direction if you are suffering from it, or if you later suffer from it, like what you just learned is a very good possibility that you are going to. I personally am thinking about going and jumping on that testosterone test that you mentioned. What was the website again?
You can go to either discountedlabs.com or privatemdlabs.com. Those are probably the two like biggest, most ubiquitous in North America. But yeah, for just to echo what you said too, for everybody, I'll send you the PDF, no problem, for free. But the book is obviously on Amazon. It's in Kindle version and also paperback. Most people do buy the paperback because this is a book that you're going to use for your entire life. And there's so much more beyond testosterone. We have training, we have nutrition. We have actually a chapter called Agents of Change, which is literally like every single supplement, gray market, medication, or even nootropic, which I know we're going to talk about. That's worth
later episodes, so stay tuned.
That's worth investigating today, like the latest and greatest, most cutting edge things that are available to people today. So again, the book is like, we call it the Bible for a reason. And as Vince said, you will go back to it. And there's even chapters in there that will apply to you for other reasons, right? We actually have a chapter in there on gynecomastia, which for most men know in locker room culture is like bitch tits, and how to solve it permanently. What medications to use, how to have it removed, what surgeons to see, the best in the world. I actually have an interview with the top gynecomastia surgeon in the whole world. So, it's a really, really deep book, and every man, and I honestly think women should read it too, because for two reasons. Women, there is a chapter for women. It's chapter 19. It's the longest chapter in the book. It's written by my wife and also a really amazing physician who's been working with women for 15 years on optimizing them. So that reason, but also for women that are, with husbands that have the issue, they can educate themselves. The awareness, as you said, is critical. Right. That is the most important component, is always being aware.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, like I said, everybody, if you want to check that out, it's in the link in the description below this video. Thank you, Jay, for being on here and just educating me and everybody else on this subject a little more, just coming from somebody who's personally dealt with it. It's awesome to hear.
Thank you, Vince. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so everybody make sure you're clicking the thumbs up button below, leaving any comments, questions, concerns in the comment section. And last but not least, make sure you are smashing that subscribe button and the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I post a new video. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one.